In this video, I'm going to walk you through how to set up just a quick and easy PHP and web server on your local Windows machine. We're going to use a program called XAMPP, so we'll just search for XAMPP Windows 10, which is what we're running, and here we have the download page for XAMPP from apachefriends.org. Clarify here that it says XAMPP for Windows. There's also a Linux version and a Mac version down below. It says XAMPP for Windows and then 7.2, 7.3, 7.4. That's referring to PHP versions, not referring to Windows 7 versions. So don't think that this is really out of date or something. But we're going to choose which one we want. We're just going to go with PHP 7.3. And we'll just go through the wizard. Now you'll see here there's a whole lot of options here that you can choose. Basically, if you want to just set up a test server, all you really need is Apache, which is your web server. MySQL if you're going to be using databases, obviously PHP or Perl if you're going to be using one of those languages, and phpMyAdmin if you plan on using MySQL. The other ones you don't really need for just a quick basics test server, but we'll go ahead and leave them checked, and there's no reason not to. I do already have XAMPP installed on here, so I'm going to choose a different folder. I'll just call it XAMPP2, but you can also leave it set up to the original folder that it was set. We'll select our XAMPP2 folder, we'll click Next. And we'll wait for it to install. So the install process does take a few minutes. Go get yourself a coffee or something. So we've skipped ahead. Now it has finished installing. And yes, we want to start the control panel, which is this right here. So we've now installed XAMPP. This is the control panel, which is where we can start and stop any of our services. Apache being our web server to serve up the local web pages. MySQL being our local database server, and then FileZilla and Mercury and Tomcat we're not going to mess with in this tutorial, but Apache is the main thing we want to see. The goal of this video is to set up a PHP server. Apache is the web server that serves up the actual web pages, and PHP is a module that is installed on top of Apache. And so this flavor of XAMPP also included PHP version 7.3, if you recall. We can in the config button here we have access to all the configuration settings for Apache and for PHP as well as for phpMyAdmin. Now of course if you're going to be setting this server up with any sort of access to the outside world, I would highly recommend taking your time to go through these configuration settings and go through whatever tutorials and research you have to do to make sure that you have the appropriate and secure configuration settings so that you don't open up any vulnerabilities to attacks. However, the purpose of this video is to simply help us get a PHP local web server set up merely for the purpose of testing our own code on our local machine. There will be no outside access to the outside world. So we're going to start our Apache server. It's going to ask us for permission to connect to the internet, and yes, we'll say that's okay. It's now running on ports 80 and 443. So port 80 is our HTTP, and port 443 is our secure HTTPS protocol. We're also going to start up the MySQL server. You can see how that starts and stops as well. And again, the rest we're going to just ignore for now. But now that we have Apache running, we should be able to navigate to our local host, which is 127.0.0.1. And as we go there, you'll see that now we have our XAMPP for Windows with PHP 7.3.23. It does redirect to the dashboard directory if we go to that local host. So what's probably going on is there's probably just a small redirect in the index file of the root directory. So what we're going to do is we're going to head over to our XAMPP control panel, and if we click on Explore, it's going to show us the folder structure of where we have XAMPP installed. And you want to find the htdocs folder. We're going to go into there, and this is the root of where all of our accessible web files are. You'll see here there's an index.php file. we're going to open that up and we're going to make some changes to it so that we can see that everything is working correctly. So I'm just going to open it up in Dreamweaver, which is my preferred editor, but you are welcome to use any other editor that you'd like. So yes, we can see here that it is actually just redirecting to the dashboard folder. So we're going to remove all of this stuff, and we're going to add just a little hello world at the top here, and then we're going to add our PHP info function. We're going to save that and head back over to Chrome, where we will now head back to our root localhost, and we can see hello world and PHP 7.3 is running. So we have now successfully set up our local web server with PHP installed. Again, the point of this tutorial was to help you set up a quick and simple local web server with PHP and Perl so that you can be doing testing on your local machine. This is not intended for access to the outside world. This is not intended for a production environment web server, so please make sure that you do your homework and research whatever configuration is appropriate for that sort of environment. This is merely for a test environment. Thanks for watching. If you found this helpful, please hit the like button, and please feel free to share and subscribe to help me create more videos.